tomorrow, actually. Should come out, a new one. Which means you'll have about 500 replays to sink into from the last few weeks of StarCraft 2 action that's been happening on the stream. Let's kick off. Let's do this. To the bottom right-hand side, we do have our blue Zerg player. This is Bly. And he is at the point now where he has to win this series to be able to move through this group. To the top left-hand side, our red Protoss player is DnS. He also lost OT to Creator. So, Creator winning against everyone 2-0 means that they are basically Bly, DnS, and Soul in a free-player round robin now to see who comes out in second place. So, DnS against Bly, if he can beat Bly here, no matter what score, as long as DnS beats Bly, DnS versus Soul will straight up just decide who advances in second place. If Bly comes through and beats DnS, we start to look at map scores and the result of that final series as well, because Bly could still then advance through, depending on final results, etc. So, for example, if Bly wins 2-0, and then DnS beats Soul 2-0, I think Bly advances because he'll have been the only player to have won 3 maps between the players. So, because he took a map against Soul, of course, even though he ended up losing the series. So, with that said, we'll see how this does go. We'll see what the map scores come out as. We'll see if map scores are even going to become a thing, of course, as this series moves on along. So, Simon X-Core is on the way up on the front of the natural, and we have some PvZ here. Obviously, we saw some PvZ between Bly and Creator earlier, and it was pretty straight up and standard stuff, I'd say, from Creator, although in general, he put himself into a very strong position. He, Creator really got early damage dealt, and he just used that early damage to kind of catapult himself into a much larger lead moving onwards in the game, so wasn't really many surprises or anything like that. I think Creator just sort of played straight up games, and once he got ahead early, he played it out in a way that allowed him to just close out without any further issues. And DnS is a very similar player. He will play, kind of very regular builds. He won't do anything too crazy. Try and do some damage early sometimes, and a lot of the time, he'll do some damage early, and he's like, okay, well, now I'm very confident in how to play this out. Even sometimes playing, taking that opportunity as a way just to build into carriers, rather than ending the game right away. So, yeah. Kinda cool. Alright, well, we are going to be seeing this Stargate is just over halfway done here from DnS, and we do see a single Adept of DnS going to be shading out down towards the bottom right-hand side. So Adept of DnS shading out towards the bottom right, and we are going to be having the first little look from the Protoss player, well, the second little look at the Protoss player, because he already has one Adept down here. So actually, he's already kind of had an idea of the third hatch coming through. With 2 Adepts, he could definitely commit into a mineral line if he sees the opportunity, so let's see if he does. 12 Lings on the way, though, will generally stop those Adepts dead in their tracks. They're very committed, though, here. There's no way. They have to shade, because the Lings are going to get surrounded on the low ground if they don't. But they will get some drones while they come up to the high ground here. So already that's 3 workers, now 4. Extra Lings coming through, and well, the Adepts get cleaned up, but 4 worker kills not bad at all. Plus the fact he killed off forced so many Zerglings to come out to clean this up. DnS is going to be looking pretty good at the moment. With another Adept about to pop, he's actually looking really good. Triple Gateway already coming down, so I guess the Stargate's already up, but no further tech just yet. Going into the Oracle, as the first Oracle's actually already out, so it's the second Oracle coming through now. I kind of feel like this might be something like a Resonating Glaives follow-up even still, with this many Gateways coming down. It's definitely going to be a lot of Adepts in the near future. I'm just going to be having the Oracle of DnS coming down towards the south, and a second Oracle as well coming across down to the south side. Obviously the 2 Oracles together can get some damage done here and there, but nice Spore Crawler placement by Bly to help himself out. I think the second Oracle might just commit on these spores, because they will straight up just kill/cancel those, and will therefore be able to start getting some damage done to the actual drones. It's kind of weird. I mean, obviously it's a very committed way to do it, but for example here he actually gets the 4 kills, so that's minerals wasted on top of the essential drone kill that happens too. Another Oracle from DnS. Oh, he's really committing quite hard into these. I guess because Bly earlier was very reluctant to build spores, this game he will build spores, or more spores. So it's going to be a little bit more kind of defensive from less greedy from Bly than what we've seen earlier. Now just the Robo coming up. So it looks like these Adepts are just going to be a way to apply pressure while taking the third base behind it. Doesn't look like we'll have Resonating Glaives coming through. Probably therefore Robo comes up. That means a Twilight and the Forge will follow in the next 20 seconds or so. And then of course once the Twilight and the Forge are down, we're going to be seeing the, well, very typical just Templar Archives, Charge Lot upgrade, everything continued on that we expect it to be, right? 16 Lings on the way through. Hydraless Den is on the way out in the main base as well. Supply continuing with this here at the moment, as we do have the Oracles and the Phoenix coming in towards the main in a moment or two. Ling is going to come in and they do get us around on this Nexus. Nexus taking some hits, and we will see a cancel coming through here. Pile on the left side taking some more damage as well. These Adepts coming forward and able to pick away at another couple of Zerglings. And this Pile on the right will just be cancelled. A couple of times on each side of the map, kills actually really coming through. Oracles target down the Queens rather than Lings, which means the Adepts take quite a bit of damage to shade away into this mineral line. I kind of feel like I would have liked it more if the Oracles had helped to target the Lings, because then the Adepts are able to kind of really keep on shading around and doing so much more. And this is why, of course, the Pylon over here was not cancelled and instead killed. DnS was paying attention to that fight instead. Now getting an Immortal up, he already has the Twilight and the Forge dropping down, extra gateways coming through. The Pylon down, but again, lack of a Nexus here really slows him down more than anything else. By starting to drone to catch back up in the work, as he has been trailing for a little bit. And sort of just see by the Zealot Warpins that this is generally going to be charged in the next few moments as well, and just already committed in towards Immortal Charge of Archon. Bly also without upgrades here as he starts up the Hydraless speed. Oracles will pop their pulse up beams yet again to push those Zerglings away. Pretty much the main reason those Lings are backing away all the time here. We'll go for a cancel on this Nexus. We'll just get it. The probe will go down too, so continue to delay this now. I mean, we're talking about a 7-minute and 20-ish second Nexus as the start time for the Nexus now. That's kind of crazy. It's such a late Nexus to build. As we see DnS coming over. We'll be dropping that into play in a moment or so. Those Lings come in and they will go for the probe and they will be able to pick it off. There's that third Nexus dropping down as a couple of Oracles do move over to the right hand side. Another 7 Zealots warping in here. 10 Hydras now on the way up. The Templar Archives is also going to be finishing in the next few moments. So Templar Archives about to finish the Nexus too. War Prism also about to finish up now. And we're just going to be seeing, well, Immortal comes forward and is able to get, I think, just a Zergling at the front. It's turned into quite an aggressive attack. I mean, Archons can now morph in. He's got a lot of Zealots already. Army supplies are kind of even. It's only Ling Hydra out of Bly. There's definitely some potential here without Baners to try and clean up the Zealots nice and quickly. Definitely some potential at the moment as we're going to be seeing those Hydras working their way through the rocks. Opening up the map. The War Prism actually heads to the left-hand side. Looks like the main army will not come across. Not just yet, at least. We'll at least wait for the Prism and maybe move elsewhere. Prism actually just going to sit in the center for now, and DnS looks like he'll join up with it. The Lings and Hydras out in the middle. He's going to catch the Archons very exposed. It means the Zealots aren't going to do the job tanking that they're meant to. Now he gets them in the front. Oh, he lost one Archon already. That's painful. But the Hydras now are in a little bit of trouble as these Zealots getting ready to maybe use their charge forwards. DnS is on the way up as well here from Bly. But is that just a little bit too late? 7 more Zealots. Apparently it's all about the Zealot production at the moment here from DnS. He's got a lot of gas out on Archons at some stage. He just hasn't done that yet. Here he goes, Zealots charging in, but with the Queens to help out, it's a very different scenario. The Queens can transfuse each other. They're in general very good at tanking. And the Queens will be able to really make the difference here in terms of helping to clean up. The Zealots wasting a lot of damage output on Queens rather than Hydras. It goes a long way. It's a big part of the defense here from Bly. He loses a fair amount. Resource loss is 6,005.8k, so resource loss is pretty even still. In terms of income in this game, it's definitely been DnS favorite for a long time, but Bly taking it back more recently. So bouncing back just a little bit there as Creep continues to push out over to the left-hand side. And these Hydras pushing over to push that Warp Prism away, which comes down the right side now instead. Slice Storm. Live on the natural. A few kind of harassing Hydralists just going to get caught by a stasis ward, so simple shutdown from DnS, already having that defense in position. And the Zealots trying to come in, push the Queen around. We are going to be seeing this Prism is continuing to move on over on the right hand side, and I'm just going to be seeing the Zealots, the Archons, and the Immortal of DnS just gathering up to jump onto those Hydras. And going off, and we do see again, just DnS still controlling the map, I feel like. Even though he's kind of sat at home with his main army, the prison just gives him so much presence. It just really makes it so terrifying for the Zerg to potentially push across the map, knowing that a War Prism could kind of swoop in, just start dropping Zealots and so on in towards the main in the next few moments. It's terrifying. Spire on the way from Blind. He is the sort of player that does play the Mutalist style quite a lot. You know, Mutas have more than once brought Bly from a bit of a deficit into a sort of scenario where he really is suddenly winning a game. A couple of Banes fly in and they get a little bit done. They got some of the High Templar low. I thought for a moment some of them might die, but it just wasn't quite enough as these Zealots getting to work on the mineral line. It looks as though the Zealots are going to drop into the main base too. Queen's target pretty quickly, so now going to be occupied with the Zealots for our next few moments. And a couple of drones going down too, but the cannons again set up well positioned and all the rest of it to make sure that they can minimize kind of Bane and run bys from kind of really connecting, even if DnS is not paying the most of attention at that moment in time when they connect. Fifth base also dropping down. We're just going to be seeing another melee upgrade from Bly starting up in the main. The two Oracles are going to come over to the left-hand side too now, so two Oracles going to move on over to the left. We are going to be seeing 20 more Banelings on the way up here. 2 more Queens coming through as well. The +1 melee upgrade from Bly also coming into play, and we are just going to be having these Hydras coming through, doing a little bit of damage to the Oracles there, but not quite able to get the kill. Oracle's able to move away. Nicely done. 7 meters now started coming out, so Bly starts to set up into another little stage of this here. The Lurker Den starts up in the back of the main base as well, so Lurker Den in the back of the main. +1 melee on the way through from Bly. You're going to see these Zealots continue to move on forwards. They are going to be able to come on through, and they're going to be able to get quite a bit done. At the very least, he's going to pull some of Bly's units back to deal with this, because the Queens alone really will not hold on any longer. He also sees the Mutalists, which is great information. He did open this game for Stargate, as these Storms are pretty deadly as well, so he does have the potential to already start Phoenix production. Zealots are dealt with, but 10 drones going down. I say dealt with, there's actually a couple left over still. Mutas turn back for this man. So much time where the Mutas are kept on the Zerg side of the map, rather than being across in the Protoss space, picking off probes and slowing down DnS wherever possible. And it's very frustrating here as we're going to be seeing those Hydras on the way out. 12 of them coming through. Another Phoenix on the way in the main. Chrono boosted out here at the moment. It's going to be joining up in a moment or so. Oracle comes towards again. Doesn't have a Revelation to drop. Yes, it does. I thought it was going to go down before the Revelation, so try to change what I was saying, but it was just a straight up lie for a moment. Doesn't have the chance to drop a Revelation, was what I was about to say, but he actually got away and dropped the Revelation, so that was kind of impressive considering the scenario. Mutas fly in, they snipe down that Zealot, which is working away at some creep, and the creep is very good here from Bly. It's around the right, it's around the left, it's up through the center, and that makes these Lurkers so much more powerful because they're going to be able to reposition and relocate so very easily now. The Lurker Den has just finished up, so there's not Lurkers yet, but imagine there will be in the next few moments. +2 melee attacks coming through, the 10 Lurkers now morphing in the center. This is such a tough map to deal with Lurkers on. If they get up here into this position, suddenly they're between the natural and the third base, you have to fight them. And into a choke point, not going to be pretty. I actually really feel this is maybe one of the better maps for Lurkers in the map pool at the moment. Every pathway is so choky, there's so many ramps up and down into key positions of the map. Not just like into external bases, but into truly like just the middle of the map. It's all ramped. And the right hand side position can be very powerful too. Coming up here, sieging Lurkers, so you push through this choke point to try and fight them. It's not going to be pretty either. Right now, DnS is very occupied. On the left-hand side, loses 2 of his High Templar without really doing anything. A recall away to the right side, because that's where the bigger threat is. He comes right in towards Lurker fire as he recalls. No, that's not how you engage Lurkers. Not at all. I mean, recalls right into them. This isn't pretty at all right now. I'm just going to be seeing the Nexus dropping. So 20 probes going down. DnS can maybe push in and clean these Lurkers up. That's the one thing he does have going his way. The fact that the ability to come in and kind of get rid of these Lurkers is kind of there, so he will do some damage to Bly's army. 33 Hydras in reproduction. That's an insane number. Love the usage of the Phoenix here, by the way. They had a lot of energy, so what he did was he lifted up a Lurker, dropped it back down, cancelled it. Lifted up the next one, cancelled it. And what that does is essentially just unburrows the lurkers. He doesn't need the lurkers to be in the sky. He just needs to be he just needs them to be out unburrowed. And that's exactly what those Phoenix lifts did there. So that's a nice little something from DnS. I'm a little bit worried that Bly now only has fewer Hydras. Although I do have to say there's no High Templar left in this army, so that's definitely something which will go the way of the Protoss or the Zerg player. Storms would obviously be so much better as Bly is in a little bit of trouble. This counterattack is powerful. Again, the pure Hydra alone is not really cutting it, and suddenly Bly, his 4th base is under some real pressure here. A couple of lurkers that were in play got lifted by the Phoenix, and the Phoenix are certainly being MVPs. They were forced out by the Mutalist earlier, and only a couple of them came through, but man, if they found some real damage here, it's actually kind of crazy. Zealots will warp in to deal with these lurkers, gets one of them as they're very low. Protection isn't there, so these Zealots just sort of giving themselves up until the Observer arrives. Impressively, he gets rid of all of the lurkers without losing a Zealot. And DnS can get back to mining on this base. Suddenly the harassment of Bly isn't really doing enough, losing the base himself as well. Now this forward 5th base is going to be in some trouble as also. DnS comes right down into it, and Bly is just not ready to fight it. One lurker in the production tab, it's still just pure Hydras. We just saw how pure Hydra goes as that army completely just melted before, and it's going to melt once again here as the Archons move forward. The one lurker that is about to finish, well, it gets cancelled. And the Immortals here too. DnS's army's a bit too good in the end. I was a little bit questioning when he recalled into those lurkers, but he makes it work. GG. DnS takes game 1 of the series. DnS looking to make it very simply a series between him and Soul as our final series of the day, which will just straight up decide who finishes this group in 2nd place. To the top left, our red Zerg player. Down a game, let's see if he can fight back, is Bly. And I really thought he had that one in a couple of moments, or at least that he was putting himself in a good position. Those lurkers did a lot of damage, they killed a base. The recall into the lurkers wasn't pretty, but then really nice Phoenix Migrator to kind of make the engagement against the lurkers that much better. And once the engagement against the lurkers was that much better, the lurkers just seemed to disappear. And that was absolutely amazing as we get this ready to go. As we kick off in game number 2 to the top left-hand side. Is Bly, and to the bottom right-hand side, DnS is 1-0 up in this best of 3. Sorry guys, I was a bit distracted by... I don't know what's going on in chat, but guys, please follow the rules below the stream very simply. It's just, I mean, they're really just common sense rules. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick to mods. If you have an issue with the mods, please bring it up in whisper rather than in chat, because that just saves the chat from becoming a shitfest. Definitely don't call a mod very bad things, even in PM, because then he will just get straight up banned. God damn it. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, guys. So, game number 2 of Bly vs DnS. Oh, I can't believe we've been live for 3 hours today. I don't know. If I feel as though the days just passed so quick. I'm like, huh, have we been live an hour? I'm like, what? It's 3 hours already? We've got a series left after this as well. Turn into a nice little evening stream, and we are going to be pretty much casting all week in the evenings. Tomorrow I'm on WardiTV again for the 2nd group of the BTSL Europe. And I'm also going to be casting, Thursday and Friday, groups B and C of the WardiTV Weekly Season 4 Finals. Set up, looking to see what's going to happen, as we are going to be seeing a Adept being chrono boosted out and a Stalker being chrono boosted as well. Speed is going to be researching here, so I mean, a feeling's already on the map, but it's not really looking as though Bly's trying to be too aggressive. Taking the base at the front's a bit weird, but obviously DnS scouted this with a probe, so he does know what's going on. As we are going to be seeing the Queen coming forwards, and again the Adept just getting pushed away. So just as a reminder of who's going to be playing the rest of our groups, or who we've already got confirmed. Tomorrow, Thursday's group confirmed: Stefano de Muslim, Petit Drogo, and Denver. Then we also have players such as Clem, Raynor, Harston, Euthermal, Optimus, Nurtio, all confirmed that they will play in the WardiTV Weekly Season 4 Finals. So, some very fun groups coming up. Obviously, we haven't released Group C and D yet, but they'll be coming out soon. And, yeah. So, just kind of setting up and looking to see what's happening as the Ling runs through the main base. Bly looking to see what's going on. Adept here is shading around, and we are going to see that Ling want to be trying to jump in towards the maid and just nibble away at one of those probes. So, Ling goes down, and we are going to be having the third hatchery finishing up on the natural. It's still kind of weird because you have this hatchery out the front so early in the game. It's very exposed in comparison to just having this base over here. So, a little bit interesting. We're seeing the extra gates finishing up right now, and DnS doing this little thing which he does sometimes, which is triple gateway with no tech. Is actually very indicative of this build, which is then the double Stargate. So by going double Stargate, something that Bly is actually going to see, you can generally crank out a whole bunch of Phoenix very quickly. And it looks though DnS is going to commit to it. He's going to go into the +1 flight attack upgrade for air. Even though this is scouted, actually have 9 roaches on the way from Bly, 27 drones. He's just going to look to all in. The shield battery at the front, a lot of gate production available. The Phoenix will actually go a long way to picking units up and taking them out of the equation. And obviously with double Stargate, double Void Ray, boom, suddenly you have yourself something that really can push back roaches. Obviously the biggest issue right now is that DnS can't necessarily see this coming. He doesn't know it's coming at the moment. So we do have the Queens starting to make their march as well, so they're going to try and help out with this defense. The first Phoenix are out. And this is the thing though, if these Phoenix come through the center a little bit more, well, even if he just comes to this side, oh my god. Well, he sees a few Lings, that's fine. He hasn't seen the roaches though, he hasn't seen the Queens. He doesn't know about the severity of this attack. As he comes into the natural though, he's going to see no drones, and surely that should be a bit of a sign. Especially as he comes into this space, also sees not full saturation. He should begin to realize there isn't enough drones here compared to what there should be. And he's continuing to warp in Stalkers. Another couple Phoenix showing up in a moment or so. And there is going to be potentially Void Rays on the way very soon as well, I feel. I mean, I just think the Void Rays have so much to add to this. Although I guess the Phoenix as well can just lift up these Queens, and they will do a pretty good job. Plus some air weapon switches, that would actually be huge, but it will help the Phoenix a lot in terms of what they can get done. Marissa Bowser is starting to work their way through both the Cybernex core and against the gateway here at the top side. So, shield battery's coming up, some time being bought here at the moment. There's just going to be more Phoenix on the way out. That cyber core is going to go down already. A new one building in the background. The wall is down, and that is going to give these units better access forwards. There's no wall onto the main ramp, as we are going to see those Phoenix starting to come through and lifting up Ravagers. The Queen's not really doing very much against this at the moment. Transfusions aren't really being used at all. I just don't think this is having much success at all here for Bly. There's some transfusions and also as these Phoenix, well, just continue to pick away. I mean, the Ravagers keep on dropping. This is just game. I mean, lifts up 2 more Queens in the back. Simple defense from DnS. I can't even put it in much more interesting words. I mean, he defends this so easily, it wasn't even that fun to watch. Shield batteries obviously went a long way to helping out, but the Phoenix did a good job too, and Bly's attempts to kind of all in to win this game right here and now just has not worked out at all. Phoenix into the center, and we are going to be seeing even a third Stargate on the way up. I love the idea from DnS. I think he's just saying, hey, you know what? I take a lead this early in the game. How on earth are you going to stop me building carriers? Right? Like, and he's kind of right. I mean, he might not build carriers. He might just build mass Phoenix, honestly. And at the moment, it looks as though that might be very successful. Phoenix are just going to work their way through all of these overlords. They do not care about that sport crawler. Reposition slightly to try and make sure the damaged Phoenix don't actually get taken down. Bly is so heavily supply blocked, and well, he's just going to try one more attack, push across the map, see what he can do. But I mean, the Phoenix can just kind of pull themselves home, and I don't even know, man. He's lost so much Bly here. 5,000 resources for 1.3k. This time it's only Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers, but it's mostly Lings. There's only a couple of Ravagers, a couple of Roaches. Force field will be close to far down, but then that's the end of the Ravagers. They get lifted and they go down instantly. GG. DnS takes it to